What's up, guys? What's up? Dr. Jaws here, and we are back with a brand new stream. First stream of spooky season 2024. It's October 7th, and we are back with the Broadnose Sevengill Shark, Notorynchus cepedianus, which is going to be really cool. This one is going to be an awesome species because it's one of the only 7-gill sharks or 6-gill sharks that you can find in shallow water, which I think is absolutely unique about this group of sharks. Usually, they're all deep water species, including some of those famous YouTube videos of the deep sea sharks that are huge and they're biting submarine or submersibles. This is a cousin of those kinds of sharks. So I'm used to them being in deep water environments. But this one is going to be really cool to review today because this is the only, or I feel like this is the only one that actually enters shallow water. Heptranchius perlo also enters shallow water sometimes, so I feel like it's primarily a deep water species. Whereas this one, the Broadnose Sevengill Shark, seems to be primarily a coastal species from what I understand. So I'm really excited to learn more about it. Sir Douglas Bain, welcome. What's up? Did you have a good weekend? And also let me know if you have any fun plans for October. I don't know. I'm really into Halloween. Hey Minjus, what's up? Oh my gosh. Happy Monday to you too. Right off the bat, I'm already amazed. I've started associating 7-gills with deep water, so it's so cool to learn as a shallow water one. Yeah, so this one is really cool. For me personally, especially since I live on the Atlantic coast of the United States. But on the Pacific coast, you actually see these, off California, off Washington. They're pretty popular dive species. I didn't realize that they were actually as wide-reaching as they are as far as South Africa or parts of Australia. So it's really cool that you can actually dive with this shallow water kind of 7-gill shark. So I'm really excited to dive into it, not only for the footage. Oh, Sir Douglas, are you in Florida? My gosh, yeah. Just sending you the best. I used to live in Bradenton, so I used to live in the Tampa Bay area. So it's kind of currently right where Milton is heading. So just stay safe, and just just let us know how you're doing. Just wishing you the best as far as just everything. It's kind of amazing how rapidly Milton developed. So and also just as far as preparedness, if I'm sure you already have a plan, but also just as a backup, usually hotels are pretty good. Hotels are built pretty strongly, and they usually do have protocol as far as emergencies like hurricanes. So just as kind of a side note, just as extra backup if there's a hotel nearby or a hotel further inland. I think my plan originally, when I used to live in Bradenton, I didn't really have a lot of, I only had one really bad tropical storm, but my plan was to either go inland towards Orlando or to go to Gainesville, because I had a friend in Gainesville. So yeah, just keep us posted. Just wishing you the best with that. And I think it's supposed to leave Wednesday or Thursday. But yeah, it's kind of, yeah. Milton's been pretty big, or not pretty big, but it's developed really quickly. So yeah, just stay safe and just hotels are usually a good backup as far as that goes. So yeah, I remember this is kind of a random tangent, but I remember driving one time around Tampa, and I got caught. I love it. I'm invincible. In the face of no wind, I shall falter. I'm pretty much out of the path, so I'll be fine. Just some fun and probably power outage. Okay, awesome. Oh, Minjus, I have zero experience with hurricanes, but sincerely hope you the best. Stay safe, Sir Douglas. Yes, awesome. Yeah, because it's funny. Virginia technically gets hurricanes, but I feel like the geography here is so strange. Where because you have Cape Hatteras, and I feel like they kind of go off of Cape Hatteras. Virginia Beach and Hampton Roads will get a little bit of hurricane action, but I haven't really seen a lot over the years. So Because a hurricane should fear duckless instead. Love it, love it. Yeah, I remember when I used to. I was driving around Tampa once, and I got caught in a storm, and it was like I've never been outside driving, feeling like I was in a car wash. Like it was that much rain. Like hurricanes and tropical storms, like no joke as far as yeah, just how intense that could be. So yeah, but and I like as far as Atlantic hurricane season, that's so interesting. I like because Mingus, you're in Maine. I can't remember the perfect storm, like the perfect storm hurricane, and I forget the name of that hurricane, but I think it was definitely Massachusetts, and I think it might have hit Maine, but it was such a strange event. Also, really random. Perfect Storm is a great movie if you haven't seen it, by the way. It's also one of the early Mark Wahlberg movies. But sorry, I'm getting off so many tangents. So we'll get back to the shark. Sorry about that, guys. But yeah. So this shark lives, at least as far as the United States goes, it lives in the Pacific Northwest or the Pacific coast of the U.S. You can find it in kelp forests, which is really cool. As far as like a diving opportunity goes, it's pretty unique encounter. And again, given like the lineage of this shark, like given that this is a Hexantroform, so it's kind of like one of the living fossil sharks. It's such an amazing scuba experience because again, most of these kinds of sharks live in deep water, so the opportunity to be with one in the shallows is like really cool. As far as like this is probably one of the only times you'll be able to be with Hexantroform. So, Mingus, yeah. My grandmother lived through. I just saw your comment on the perfect storm. My grandmother lived through it, and she had photographs of like the waves hitting a seawall that was like 20 feet up and away from the beach. That was wild. Like that was a wild storm. So. For this clip we've got, and I slowed it down to half speed, so, kind of while we're talking in the beginning, so we'll kind of move back to full speed to get an idea of how this animal moves, and I'll go back to the very beginning. So this is in South Africa, so again, Broadnose Sevengill Shark. So one thing that I noticed immediately, as far as like kind of looking at this species, and we'll get back into it, is like there's something about the skin texture that feels like a little bit firmer, because I'm used to other kinds of 7-gill sharks and 6-gill sharks kind of having that like kind of like loose skin texture, like when they bump into something, it just feels like everything ripples on the body, whereas just for a shallow water 7-gill shark, it just feels like the skin is a little bit thicker, a little bit firmer. Now I could be wrong about that, but there's just something about the appearance where it just feels like it does belong in a shallower water environment. I also love the color pattern, where you do have a little bit of counter shading, where you have like the top is like a dark color, these really pretty white speckles, and then the bottom is actually more of a white base with a little bit of speckling. So it's a little bit of counter shading. It's a really beautiful animal, one of the few sharks that only has one dorsal fin. And also has one really long, very elegant, billowing upper caudal fin. Very small lower caudal fin. The pectoral fins are very large, actually. And I'm sure that the pectoral fins are probably that large to kind of counteract the missing dorsal fin. And then also just like the cool thing about all kinds of all shark species is that there's a specific proportion between the size of the pectoral fins, the pelvic fins, the dorsal fin, the caudal fin, the anal fin. They're all it's like if you kind of were, I'm trying to think of an analogy. It's like if you were like, if you know how you have like a stress toy or like Play-Doh and you squish it in different ways. Like, it's the same amount, you can squish it into different shapes, but it's the same amount of material. So it's like you start with two separate balls of Play-Doh, and then you squish like a blue ball Play-Doh into one shape, squish a red ball into Play-Doh into another shape. You can make these very different shapes, like these very different shark shapes, but it's the same amount of material. And there's something similar like that as far as the fins go, where it's like you can, if you expanded the size of one kind of fin you have to reduce the size of another kind of fin, or another in some other way counteract with the shape or the size of the fins to get that right amount of lift and that right amount of ability to stabilize in the water, to kind of cut through the water. There's a perfect kind of physics going on with all sharks as far as the proportion of the fins to the body, which is so cool. There's a couple of really cool studies on that where they do aerodynamic studies of sharks, and they measure how each fin, cuts through the water or creates lift in the water, or kind of reduces drag or reduces friction in a certain way in the water. And it's just like my favorite one is like when pectoral fins hit, they can create like a vortex that the pelvic fins can hit, and that further streamlines the shark and makes it go faster in the water. So like the proportion of the fins to the body is very significant, which is really cool. And like all sharks, I mean, it applies to all sharks, and it kind of applies to all marine animals to begin with, because it's just, it's just part of optimizing movement and part of evolution, trying to, like optimizing like your niche in the ecosystem. But I say all this to say, like, it's very interesting to see how large this species' pectoral fins are, how large the caudal fin is, and I wonder if that is counteracting the missing dorsal fin, because it only has the one dorsal fin in the far back. So it's really cool. Other observations about this species, or this animal, is really large mouth, and kind of like a really cool profile. Like it almost looks like it has like this big chin. The seven gills, of course, which are kind of decreasing in size a little bit on the body. Pretty large eyes. Again, that's actually a huge mouth proportional to the rest of the body. So this shark is not known to bite people while it has been known to bite people in the aquaria. So there have been some incidents with seven-gill sharks in the aquaria. Love how this shark is just gliding through the kelp forest. There's some really interesting predator studies that we're going to read tonight in terms of how this shark interacts, or I should say maybe relates to great whites, where if a great white is present or absent in an area, it affects this shark's behavior and movement. And also orca whales. So, orcas being very popular in the Pacific Northwest, or populous in the Pacific Northwest, it kind of also has an effect on the distribution of the species. So it's really cool to see that there's two different dynamics going on with that. And I'm really excited to get to that study. So we have a couple studies to look at tonight, but that's probably the biggest one that I'm really excited about. So I think I might just kind of like leapfrog to that one, later in the stream. So. Also, before I forget, I am actually going to be heading to North Carolina next week, to Emerald Isle, which, fun fact, proportionally has more shark attacks than any other place, or it's one of the proportionally highest shark attack places in North Carolina, so I'm very excited. And also my girlfriend, if you're watching, it has that. Sorry, babe. But, I'm excited. I'm going to be there next week, so I probably won't be able to do a stream next Monday, but the following Monday, I definitely will be able to follow up with a new species. And also, if I do, if I am fortunate enough to run into any sharks, I will post pictures on the channel as far as like any observations. Right now is actually a really cool time of year because I don't think I mentioned this to my girlfriend either. Sorry. All the sharks are migrating from all the warm water sharks are migrating down the coastline past North Carolina. So it's actually an exciting time of year shark wise, but yeah. Sorry. Hey Roy, what's up? Welcome back. So. Oh, interesting. Sorry, I just saw your comment, Minjus. Audio fuzz seems to be happening around the same time. Interesting. I wonder, because I can't really, I can't really pinpoint what causes it, because I don't know if it's a bandwidth thing or if it's, my computer's too old kind of thing. But that's an interesting observation. Thank you for sharing that. That kind of helps me drill down, because it's not a microphone thing. I actually got a new microphone, and it doesn't seem to change anything. So let's see. Oh, just catching up on comments. Yes, I love that description of the Sevengill shark, unique and ancient. So, and thank you. I'm glad you love that analogy, Mingus. It's one that I really like. It's just cool thinking about, like, it's like the conservation of like matter, and like and like the just no part of an animal is wasted. Like every part of a creature is like intentional. It evolved for some reason. So, or I guess I should say nearly every part, because there's some animals with like residual features. Like one, I guess one of the more famous ones is if I'm not mistaken, I think whales technically have like they do technically have bones kind of related to lower limbs that are just residual, so they're not, and you can't see them in like an actual a whale's body. So if I'm not mistaken, that's in this skeleton. I have to look that up, but yeah. But anyway, for the most part, almost all features are conserved for a purpose. So, oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, the nice thing is about Emerald Isle is, oh, Mingus, at this point I wouldn't be surprised if it's a YouTube thing. So, oh, Roy, yes. These look like juveniles. Good observation. So in this clip, I would say these look like juveniles because fully grown Sevengill sharks, they do put on a lot of body mass, which is really cool. So this is, I want to see where this might be. It doesn't show where this location is. Does it make a comment on that? Oh, Wild Ocean Sevengill Shark. Doesn't show where you can find it, unfortunately. But this is a really cool clip from a channel called Earth Touch. So gonna like and subscribe. And I'm curious about location because with juvenile sharks, you wonder, is this kind of near a nursery? Anyway, to answer your question, I would say this one is probably maybe an adult or young adult, maybe a subadult. That one is a little smaller looking. And I feel like, and that one definitely looks like a juvenile. That one looks really small. Like when you see it compared to those other fishes, and just also kind of like the slightness and also kind of the agility, that looks like a younger individual to me, personally. That looks like a little shark. Which is so cool, because I don't think I've ever seen a baby Sevengill shark or like a juvenile, I shouldn't say baby, but a juvenile Sevengill shark. Yeah, I've seen Heptranchius, like, which is a smaller species, that like a small individual of that. And this is actually okay, so this is pretty interesting to kind of get a gauge of how old this shark is. So this is a male, and you can actually see that the claspers are going beyond the pelvic fin, or pelvic fins, and actually those claspers look pretty sizable. So that actually might be definitely not a juvenile, but maybe like a, like, I mean, this individual just looks so small that it kind of feels like, well, it feels like a juvenile to me, but the size of the claspers indicates that it might be kind of getting closer to adulthood. So, I don't know. I err on the side that this is probably a younger individual, because I feel like Sevengill sharks, they do pack on a lot of girth, like a lot of pounds, as they get older. So, like this particular one in this shot looks a little bit older. So, but that's a great question. Like when we learn more about the species tonight, we should kind of figure out size and maturity. And age and maturity. It's also really good. Oh, look at this! Multiple Sevengill sharks in this area, so this looks like a hotspot for them. There's some kelp forest somewhere. Those are really great shots of this animal. I love the pattern on the back. So it has like all these black speckles with a few white speckles. Really, really pretty. Very cool. All right. So here are some more Sevengill sharks. This is near South Africa, or this is in South Africa at a place called False Bay. Quackers, what's up? Welcome back. Hope you're doing well. A Sevengill Shark. I love the notes, man. Just classers help determine age. Sevengills should be chunky. Man, these are beautiful sharks. This one, unfortunately, does have a hook in its mouth, so this one seems to have like taken some bait somewhere and unfortunately swam off with the hook. But I love this environment. Like, it just, can you imagine just like, you know, diving in a kelp forest and you're just swimming peacefully with these sharks? Again, they're known to have incidents in aquariums, but in the wild, they're not known to attack people or um, you know, mess with people. So I'm actually very curious about when we get to Elasmo Diver, Andy Merck or sharksandrays.com does have some diving notes on this species. So I think after this clip we will kick over to that really quick just to kind of see, you know, what is it like interacting with these sharks in the wild. Oh, that looks like a big one. I love how elegant these are. These have a very serpentine kind of look to them. They're huge animals, but like, you know, they have this like really cool like kind of almost like anaconda like quality, like just like swimming through the water. These large animals like swimming through the water like with a very elongated shape. It's so cool. Such a cool profile. All right. So, Sevengill Shark, Broadnose Sevengill Shark, Notorynchus cepedianus. We'll skip this part and just get to reaction to divers. Here we go. When encountered in kelp forest, Broadnose Sevengill sharks seem oblivious to divers until they are extremely close, 1 to 2 meters away, at which point they usually explosively accelerate, but soon resume their normal slow swimming speed. It is tempting to think they don't see divers, but as apex predators that consume seals and fast-moving sharks, they probably have excellent eyesight. Okay, that's actually a little scary. It is tempting to think they don't see divers, but as apex predators that consume seals, I had no idea these eat seals, and fast-moving sharks, they probably have excellent eyesight. Caution, in baited situations, Sevengills usually become very aggressive. Not only will they persistently turn towards divers and attempt to bite, and that's scary because the teeth on these sharks are nasty. They're these actually like they're like 6 or 7 cusps on a single tooth. So I wonder if we can find an example of that. Actually, no, exactly where we can see that. Here we go. Yeah, look at these. You would not want to get bit by these. So these are, I guess these are the uppers. So these are these like really gnarly like hooks with these little cusplets at the back edge of the tooth, and then look at this. Now these are scary because these are like saw blades. Like these are, how many cusplets are these? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 cusplets per tooth. That is wild. Also, look at that symphysis. This is the middle tooth. So, you know, delineating the left and the right side of the jaw. Usually symphysial teeth are very small, and they're usually 1 cusp. This one is branching, so it's kind of amazing how you have a symphysial tooth that is six cusps on each side, or 3 cusps on each side. That's pretty gnarly. These look so wicked, and these look like they are great shearing teeth. So just like ripping into huge chunks of flesh, and just like we've seen other kinds of 6-gill sharks and 7-gill sharks, like deep water ones, bite into like a whale carcass and then just like wriggle their whole body to shear away chunks of blubber. So yeah, you would not want this shark biting you. This is quite scary. So, oh, I like that. Roy, they're like kelp forest tiger sharks. So. Quacker's definition of he's right behind me isn't me. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Love it. Salt and pepper boys. Oh my god. This is great. Love these comments. So, Quackers, gnarly feels like such an appropriate word for anything shark. It really does, doesn't it? I probably should use it more often because it does feel like a good. That feels like a good old surfer shark ocean kind of term. So, but getting back to diving. So in baited situations, Sevengills usually become very aggressive. They also approach from above and below, making the process of redirecting them rather difficult when multiple sharks are present. So that's actually really scary because tiger sharks. I know a lot of divers have success redirecting tiger sharks in beta situations, and tiger sharks are infamously, you know, dangerous species. Like they're one of the 4 most dangerous shark species. But divers will have ecotourism situations where a tiger shark will come up to a diver, and the diver will manipulate them with their hands in such a way to gently push them away and redirect them. So it's something that, you know, you could see, you can find clips of it on YouTube. Like, it is something that people see, or something that people do. But the idea of Sevengill sharks being tricky because they just kind of sneak up in different directions is like, because tiger sharks, I feel like, are a bit more obvious, and tiger sharks have been described as like puppies. Like, they're very. I had a marine science friend who described tiger sharks as like, they're kind of like big dogs. Like, they're just kind of lazy, and you don't want to underestimate them because, again, they're a very dangerous animal. But they're kind of like, they approach you very slowly. They're kind of dopey in some situations, and they seem easier to manipulate than Sevengills, which is kind of interesting. So, diving logistics. There are a number of places where Broadnose Sevengill sharks are regularly encountered by divers. False Bay, South Africa. So Miller's Point in False Bay, South Africa is an excellent spot. Oh, look at this. Okay. Historically, Miller's Point in False Bay, South Africa was an excellent spot to see Sevengills until a predation event, probably from an orca, took place a few years ago. Since then, the Sevengills have been thin on the ground, but they still show up on occasion. Interesting. In the Eastern Pacific, divers at La Jolla Cove near San Diego often encounter Sevengills patrolling the kelp forest. The encounters are hit and miss, but a few days of diving in mid to late summer will likely be rewarded with an encounter. In Bahia Bustamante in Patagonia, kelp harvesters regularly encounter Sevengills within the kelp forest. There's a hotel at the kelp farm, but no diving infrastructure, so divers need to drive down from Puerto Madryn. Sevengills are also seen on occasion by divers around the South Island of New Zealand. A 2015 Shark Week documentary entitled Sharks at the Shadowlands sensationalizing encounters where Sevengills have apparently harassed divers at removing invasive kelp from local reefs. Yeah, I don't like sensationalism. That's really annoying. Man, Shark Week is such a hit and miss because it could be a good platform for shark. Beautiful shot, by the way. That looks fantastic. It could be a good platform for. They're such a beautiful species. You know, I have to say, like, I feel like I've overlooked Broadnose Sevengill sharks, and I think it's just because it's a Pacific species. So I'm not really going to. As far as I reasonably know, I'm probably not going to encounter it as much as, like, you know, the Atlantic species that I primarily study. So I don't really pay attention to the shark that much, but it's really gorgeous. Oh, look at this one. Oh, this one looks like a titan. That one looks huge. I love, like, the cloudy eyes. Like, oh, that one looks enormous. So cool. What was I saying? Just like, yeah, these are just beautiful sharks. You know, it's that's great. It's like, what are you doing? Kermit the Frog here. Yeah, sorry. It's a beautiful shark. It's a goofy looking shot, but beautiful shark. So, but man, oh, look how big this one is. Look at the size of that. Man, so it's kind of cool to see that, you know, so this would be like potentially a 12-foot plus shark. It's kind of cool to see that you can get that close to such a large animal, you know, and so far it seems calm, you know, like oh my gosh. So I love the comments. Oh, no, that's adorable. That's really cute. This is a very photogenic shark. That's really, really cute. Oh my gosh. So wow, these are great photos. So again, Andy Merck, sharksandrays.com. Awesome shark photographer. My favorite probably. There's a lot of good ones, but Andy's one of the best, and yeah, just awesome stuff. So. Alright, this is interesting. So, I think this was an interesting, if I recall correctly when I was checking this clip out. Interesting close-up shots and pretty high resolution of a young, smaller-looking individual. ROV at Woodbridge Marine Discovery Center. So it's like remote operated vehicle. And that must have been a thrill. That like the vehicle is probably like doing something in the area, and then the shark just swam up. That is super cool. And the shark seems very curious. This individual does seem quite curious about what in the world this thing is underwater, because he's making, or she's making a lot of close passes to it. Man, so cool. Beautiful speckling on this one. Beautiful color pattern. And I love how each shark has like a different kind of style and a different kind of pattern. This is a pretty large individual. Oh, and there's actually a couple right here. Where is this? Africa, so this is probably South Africa. Since it's a very popular dive spot. They have such a big nose. If aggressive, why friend shape? Love it, love it. Didn't I do it for you? Let me do it for you. This is great. Oh, Quackers, great question. Are there salt and pepper patterns unique like thumbprints? They probably are, actually. There are some studies of identifying the Sevengill sharks, Broadnose Sevengill sharks, on an individual level. And I think the spotted pattern. Oh, sorry. No, get out of here. I think the spotting or the pattern is a way to do that. So. It's a great question, actually. And it's really cool that there's sharks that you can do that with. They do that with whale sharks. Whale sharks, actually, each individual does have a unique, subtle differences on the spots on the body. So they actually use that to identify individuals. Oh my goodness. Excellent question. So this is a really interesting clip. And I think I think I clicked on it before because I wanted to show shark stomach eversion. But this wasn't really that. This was more of a shark throwing up, unfortunately. So, but some sharks, or I guess all sharks, technically, I feel like all sharks are able to do this, but there are some cases in which a shark can evert its stomach and evert its spiral valve out of its mouth to rinse it or clean it. So, and I forget if it's just for cleaning or if it's for if other things are going on as far as like a shark everting everything. It's very rare or rarely seen, but I don't know if it's kind of like, you know how like sometimes like dogs when they don't feel good they eat grass. I don't know if it's like something like that. So I thought this clip when I first clicked on it was going to be that, but this is actually just a shark regurgitating a piece of food. Still pretty remarkable behavior to see, and you have to wonder why a shark would do that, just because like, you know, they famously, like, you know, sharks are like incredible predators. They have features like the spiral valve to maximize the nutrients out of every meal, so it just feels like it's strange that they would regurgitate something, but maybe it was inedible, or maybe the shark was not feeling well. I was recently discussing with my girlfriend about the myth that sharks don't get cancer, because it was such a popularized myth, and she was asking me about it the other day, and I was explaining that it actually, they do get cancer. Like, sharks do get cancer, they do get sick. The reason why we don't see it that often is that you know, the sharks with cancer, they actually are less likely to survive in the wild, so we see them less because they're more likely to be predated. But there have been photographs of great white sharks with cancer tumors. And the whole myth started from like a not so good quote from a paper where I think it was a paper in the 90s that was saying, or I forget if it was like the 70s or the 90s, but it was a paper that was saying, I haven't seen sharks get cancer, so maybe they don't get cancer at all. And then that spurred this whole overfishing effort to get shark cartilage, which they thought was a cancer-fighting agent, and turns out it really isn't. I think there are some studies that are kind of trying to suggest that it still could be, but the basis of the whole shark cancer trend was kind of based on nothing really. So it was a very popular myth until I would say the late 10s when that photo came out of the great white shark with cancer tumors, and then that started to really help debunk the popular myth. Long story short, sharks can get sick. So this might be an individual Sevengill shark potentially getting sick as well. So yeah. Catching up on the comments. Oh yeah. Yeah, quackers. Yeah, so sorry. That's whack. Which sharks are the ones that do the stomach conversion thing to clear their guts? So I forget. Hey Howard, what's up? Welcome back. So I forget. I feel like it's something that all sharks are able to do because I can't imagine it being a species specific feature. So as far as the only time I've seen a photograph of a Caribbean reef shark everting its stomach, and I think it was a Sevengill shark everting the spiral valve, but I can't find that clip. There is a clip of a shark everting and rinsing its spiral valve, but I can't remember what species it was. So, but I definitely have seen a photograph of a Caribbean reef shark everting its stomach, which is like it's gross, but I feel like that was something intentional on the shark's part. So, yeah. So. But I think with that, we'll dive into some facts about the Sevengill shark, or the Broadnose Sevengill shark, Notorynchus cepedianus. So here we go. And we'll kind of breeze through this because I really do want to get to there's these two predator studies that I really want to check out. So here we go. Let's see. Oh, a lot of common names, actually. So English names include the Sevengill shark, the blunt-nosed Sevengill shark, the broad-snouted Sevengill shark, the broad-nosed Sevengill shark, broad-snout, cow shark, ground shark, Pacific Sevengill shark, Sevengill cow shark, Sevengill shark, Sevengilled shark, spotted cow shark, spotted Sevengill shark, and Tasmanian tiger shark. Oh! Okay, all of these names are kind of terrible, except for that one. Tasmanian tiger shark. I love it. I really wish that was its name, because that is really cool. The Tasmanian tiger shark. Ah, that would be so great. I really, really wish that was its name. But, alas, we have Broadnose Sevengill shark, which is fine. It's fine. The variants are ridiculous, but, man. Importance to humans. Some regions of Sevengill shark is used for human consumption. Commercially, recreationally harvested. Let's see. Danger to humans. Sevengill shark is aggressive when provoked and is considered potentially dangerous to humans. According to the International Shark Attack File, the Sevengill shark has been responsible for 5 documented unprovoked attacks on humans since the 16th century. This species has attacked divers in captivity. There we go. Okay. This species has attacked divers in captivity when kept in aquaria. Interesting. When caught by fishers, this shark thrashes and snaps and is often subdued with firearms before being landed to avoid human injury. Ooh, that's scary. So that's really interesting, because like you see this shark and you're like, oh, this is like a big, sweet puppy thing, because it is very cute looking and it is very relaxed and gentle to be around. But these accounts are really interesting, where it's like, it's not a shark to be no shark is to be underestimated, but this one especially is, even though it is a beautiful, large, like, exciting animal to be around, with a happy smile, it looks really cute, it still absolutely deserves some space and respect, because apparently it can go. Like it can really do some damage if it wants to. So that's pretty interesting to read that for Broadnose Sevengill Shark. So, and like I've kind of fell into that too. I never really realized how impressive, in their own right, the whole like hexantiforms are, like as far as like how big they get, what they can handle prey wise. Like they're massive, like they're massive sharks, and they have like the tools as far as the teeth, designed to like rip into like seals, whales. It's pretty interesting. So, oh my gosh, it looks like a grandpa kind of. Love that, Sir Douglas. So makes me think of the Tasmanian devil. Oh man, and yeah, Tasmanian tiger shark goes kind of hard. It really does. It's such a cool name. So, conservation. Here we go. During the 1930s and 40s, the Sevengill shark was quite common in shark fisheries along the coast of California. Commercial fisheries soon collapsed. Recreational fishing for the species became popular. However, this fishery declined in the 80s and 90s, with recreational fishers targeting other species. Today, the Sevengill shark is caught primarily by anglers as well as incidental bycatch. Let's see. Currently, the California population of Sevengill sharks appears to be concentrated in the Humboldt and San Francisco bays. These two areas provide nursery areas and safe havens for juveniles. Oh, cool. I didn't know. Okay. The future of the Sevengill shark in this region is highly dependent upon the conservation of these habitats. That's actually really cool. I didn't know that San Francisco Bay was a shark nursery, so it looks like it is for Sevengills. That's really cool. We'll double check the IUCN Red List because usually I love Florida Museum of Natural History. Usually it's a little outdated compared to IUCN. Here we go. IUCN says it's vulnerable, so we'll read into why it's vulnerable in a little bit. So, geographically, so again, we have them on the Pacific. We have them in South America, South Africa. You can find these apparently in China, Japan, potentially in India, New Zealand, and Australia. Very cool. Right. Habitat. Large Sevengill sharks are often found in offshore waters to depths of about 570 meters or 1870 feet. So twilight zone. However, this species also lives in deep channels and bays. Smaller individuals reside in shallow water over continental shelves, including bays and estuaries. And again, this is so unique for this kind of group of sharks. I'm used to them being exclusively deep water, but this one is really cool because it can enter into shallow water. So it reminds me of the pike dogfish or the spiny dogfish in that way. Dogfish usually like deep water, but the spiny dogfish is unique in that it likes coastal environments as well and actually prefers them. So Sevengill sharks prefer rocky bottom habitats, although they commonly occur over sandy and muddy substrates. The majority of the time, the Sevengill shark swims slowly along the bottom substrate while occasionally cruising to the surface. Let's see. Biology. The shark is a large, active cow shark with a broad head, small eyes, and short, blunt snout. It gets its common name from the seven gills on each side of the pectoral fins. This character distinguishes from most other sharks that only have 5 gills. There's one dorsal fin that's located in the far back of the body. Let's see. A similar species, this is the one that I'm kind of used to, the sharp-nosed seven-gill shark, Notorynchus perlo, can be distinguished by the lack of black spots on the body, as well as the larger eye size and a smaller body size when compared to the broad-nosed seven-gill shark. So, and that kind of makes sense. So, for visual comparison, that makes sense. So here's the other one, the sharp-nosed seven-gill shark, Notorynchus perlo. So you can definitely see like how large the eyes are, and then the fact that there's no speckling. It's not a salt and pepper boy like the other one is. So. We got those nice illustration of the teeth. So we have that again, that symphysory here, the really, really large multicusped lower teeth, and then kind of like the hook-like upper teeth. The dentition of the seven-gill shark includes wide, large, comb-shaped teeth in the lower jaw used for tearing and cutting into prey. The teeth in the upper jaw are sharp and jagged, effective at holding, thrashing prey. The maximum published length of the Broadnose Sevengill Shark is 10 feet or 3 meters total length, and the maximum reported weight is 236 pounds or 107 kilograms. Males reach maturity at about 5 feet or 1.5 meters. So I think those little sharks that we were seeing earlier probably were right at the cusp of maturity. Females become mature at apparently 7 feet, 2.2 meters. Life expectancy is about 50 years. Interesting. Alright, I'm very curious about this. Here we go. The Sevengill shark, an opportunistic predator, feeds on most anything including sharks, rays, chimeras, and marine mammals such as dolphins, porpoises, and seals. Now that's freaky. Like when a shark goes after marine mammals, that's when you know, okay, this is one that can potentially do some damage to a human. It's pretty interesting. It also consumes... Wait, whoa! It also consumes mammalian carrion, including humans. Ooh. Ooh. So... Oh, that's actually really disturbing, because that means... happy Halloween. It is spooky season, so that actually means they have... this note means that this must have been observed in this must have been part of a study. That's actually really freaky. So maybe, yeah, that's really lurid. So this must have been observed at some point in time. That's really, really creepy, actually. It also feeds on bony fishes, including salmon, sturgeon, herring, anchovies, among others. Sevengill sharks sometimes hunt in packs, working as a team to capture large prey such as marine mammals and other sharks. Fascinating. Wow. Another hunting tactic is to sneak up on prey from behind, quickly dashing at the last moment for the capture. Whoa, this is kind of amazing, actually. So, you wouldn't think this kind of shark is almost like a marine wolf or velociraptor, but that's actually kind of freaky. And again, they look kind of cute and slow, and but this is the one that you gotta watch out for. That's really interesting. Wow. So yeah, that didn't get perfectly creepy at all. Oh man, Quackers, it must have been the most awkward sentence throughout the entire study. Make a good scene in a Mom movie. Oh, Howard, I love it. Yeah, that is a really good scene in the Mom movie. That's like the Departed. Oh my gosh. Ooh, can you put the link into the study here? I'd love to check it out in my free time. Yes. Oh my gosh, Mingus, I wasn't sure if I was humanizing the species in my mind, but everything stated so far makes me really feel like they're way smarter than we might think. I love that. And yeah, that's actually, coordinated attacks is really, that's pretty smart. And that's really freaky. Also, Quackers, let's see if we can, so we left off on food habits, so let's see if we can, oh, actually this is interesting, really quick. Predators. Large predatory sharks are potential predators of Sevengill shark. The white shark is one such documented predator. There's also reports of cannibalism within the species. Ah! Okay, this is like the Halloween shark. This one is really freaky. Okay. Prepared by Kathleen Bester, but no citations. Ooh. Is there a way to find any of this? Like, shoot. Okay, I thought this would actually be cited, but there are no citations on this. So what we'll do is let's look for that factoid. And actually, let's do that right now. Let's do some detective work. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anything here. You know what we'll do? First, I do want to check out the conservation for this species. But then let's do some detective work and see if we can find that human body quote. That's, it's October. Some of you might know already, I really get into Halloween. I go pretty hard for Halloween, except I feel like as I get older, I get less tolerant of scary movies. They freak me out more. So, but I love Halloween, love the spooky vibes, love watching spooky things. So I am down for finding more information on this shark and just that creepy fact. So, but first, conservation. Broadnose Sevengill Shark is a vulnerable species. I do want to figure out what is going on with the shark and what does it need. So, the Broadnose Sevengill Shark is a medium-sized deep-water shark with a global yet patchy distribution in the Atlantic and Indo-Pacific. That's I wish that was written differently. It's kind of more Pacific concentrated, but oh well. Yeah, that sentence is a little wonky. But anyway, it occurs in temperate, shallow, primarily nearshore waters from the surface to 570 meters and mostly below 136 meters. So, the species is targeted and captured incidentally deep-water industrial, artisanal, and recreational fisheries across its range. Okay, here we go. This species exhibits site fidelity to seasonal aggregations, making it susceptible to targeted fishing. So that makes sense. So there's certain parts of the world that broadnose Sevengill sharks like to be in, and therefore they're predictable, and therefore fishermen can predictably catch them. And that's really sad. That's something that's the negative end of site fidelity, where it's like many sharks have it. Many sharks do have preferred areas, and it's a shame that could be taken advantage of. So, population genetics suggests that there are 3 genetically distinct populations with little to no mixing across the oceanic basins, which would increase the species' vulnerability to fishing. There's high distribution overlap with intensive fishing pressure, suspected declines in parts of its range in the South Atlantic and Northwest Pacific, but increasing trends in the Southwest Pacific and a lack of species-specific management across its entire range. The broadnose Sevengill shark is suspected to have undergone a population reduction of 30 to 49% over the past 65 years based on abundance data, actual levels of exploitation, and a precautionary approach. It is assessed as vulnerable. So it sounds like in the Australia, New Zealand, it's actually maybe starting to recover a little bit. In Pacific Northwest and was it South America? It was Pacific Northwest. Oh, and the South Atlantic. So South America and maybe South Africa, it's on a decline. So it looks like it's vulnerable, kind of more so on a precaution, but that is a shame that it has it's being targeted. It can be reliably found in certain locations and be targeted in those places. So there are no species-specific measures in place for the broadnose Sevengill shark. Species have been reported from a number of marine protected areas. Okay, that's good. Which may offer the species some refuge from fishing. Further information is required on its biology, population size, and trends of the species, as well as interaction with fisheries. Okay, so all right. Well, it's not as bad as it could be, but it's a species to keep an eye on as far as its conservation status goes. So. Oh my gosh, Quackers! Sorry, I just saw your comment. Admittedly, I'm a hardcore Christmas person. I am too. It's like I usually get. I love freaking. I always freak myself out by like. It's like at the beginning of October, I'm like, let's go, let's do it. All the spooky stuff, all of it, all the time. And then by the end, I'm like a jittering mess. I'm like, I need Thanksgiving. So it's like I get really freaked out in October, and then November is like the break of like, oh my gosh, it's done. I need to recover. And then December is all Christmas. Like, I love that cycle every year. Like, summer is like probably my favorite time of year, but actually no. Well, it's hard because like summer, I love being out in the ocean, but in the winter, I really do love the holidays. So it's a funny cycle. I feel like I do ocean things and then scary Halloween, relaxing Thanksgiving, magical Christmas. I just love that cycle. But October now, let's look for the bodies. Let's see if we can find this factoid about where in the world was this shark observed to have human remains. So let's see if we can find that. So we'll kind of breeze through oh wow, look at these photographs. We'll kind of breeze through. These are cool. 1920 photographs. Pretty creepy. Love it. Let's see if we can find any note of that human remains quote. Oh, more English names. The Spotty. That's actually a cute name for the species. And that's really it. That's the only new one, the spotty. So. Ba, 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 ba. Okay. Oh, wow. Beautiful photograph of the eye. Look at that. That actually, look at that eye. That looks like gold leaf almost. That is a gorgeous, gorgeous photograph. Wow, what an amazing shark. This one is just. Here's a nice view of the durable denticles. Really, really pretty under a microscope. They look like diamonds almost. The jaws are really gnarly. It's my new favorite word now. Like really incredible dentition. I also did pull up a fossil website, because it should have fossil Sevengill teeth are like unmistakable. Look at that. And this is actually really cool. This is the same species. This is a fossil, and that Calvert Cliffs, Maryland. Okay. This is a fossil Sevengill shark, but it is considered Notorynchus cepedianus, so the same species as the modern shark. And you know, it just that shape, like the comb shape, is so characteristic that you know it's really cool to have an unmistakable fossil, because fossils are so hard to identify. So Shark References doesn't have any notes on the human thing, so let's check out fish base. Biology, here we go. Can dash at speed when attacking prey, feeds on anything including other sharks, rays, chimeras, bonyfish, hagfish, dolphin and porpoise meat, seal, shark egg cases, sea snails, and mammalian carrion including rats and humans. Here we go. Reference 5578. Okay. Okay, so this is from Compagno. Very famous shark scientist, so that's creepy. Guide to the Sharks and Rays of Southern Africa. Alright, let's see if we can find that. And no better place to find it than sharkreferences.com. It is awesome. This website is the best. So this study is from 1989. So here, sharkreferences.com, like for all the streams, I do use this website to prepare, to find research. You can type in living and fossil shark species, and it will show you all the research has ever been done on the species. So, it's actually really cool. I mean, like these study parties that we do, they're bona fide study parties. We're actually doing secondary research, which is pretty cool. Where was this? 1989. Okay. All right, 1989. Here we go. We need to find Compagno. Okay, here we go. Guide to the Sharks and Rays of Southern Africa. There's not a link to this. What we could do is Google it. Because sometimes, if there's something that's not a link to it... Did we find it? Are we cool? Are we really that cool? Are we that cool? No, we're not that cool. It's just the cover. Darn it. Okay. Well, there's the cover. Oh man, that was really excited about that actually. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, it's a book you have to buy. So let's try something else, actually. Now, the thing is, so this reference, Guide to the Sharks and Rays of Southern Africa, it probably is incorporating, and Compagno is a very famous shark scientist who compiles a lot of information. He is the original author of, Sharks of the World, or like one of the core authors of Sharks of the World. So he probably got this information from somewhere else, and it might be in here. So let's go back in time a little bit and see if we can find it. So, thank you, Minjas. I still think we're that cool. So, oh my gosh, darn, so close to reaching totally rad status. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So, alright, let's see. Alright, we're gonna kind of read through these titles. You know what? Actually, Smith's Sea Fishes. Let's just check that out really quick. Because that one is publicly available. It's gonna take forever to download. And I'm just looking at these other things. Xenocanth shark neurocranium. Algal infection, Sevengill shark. Okay. Oh yeah, this is gonna take forever to download. Observations on some Tasmanian fishes. That might be interesting. We'll pull that up as well. Because I'm trying to find studies that... Oh, size and aggressiveness of the Sevengill shark. Let's see what that is. So, because I wonder if Compagno got that quote from something else. Oh, here we go. Okay. Yeah, nothing about... I won't spend too much time on this, but I am kind of curious if we can do detective work here. This is JSTOR, so I think you would have to do it through... Oh, shoot, great. You would have to do it through, like, a school. That's annoying. Yeah, now we're getting to the 50s. I'm just gonna do Sharks and Rays of California just for fun. Nope. Okay. I want a private connection. All right. So we'll let this load because this might be a good next step for this little mystery. But we'll keep going as far as learning more about this species specifically. So. I did have a couple more generic websites before we look at the studies I really wanted to get to, which are predation studies. But Shark Research Institute with the official illustration by Mark Dando. Although we've got a lot of great footage of the species anyway. This is a active, strong shark. It moves inshore at high tide and retreats offshore at low tide. Most specimens are seen cruising near the bottom, but they may also be found at the surface. Juveniles are frequently found in shallow water close to shore. Danger to humans unknown. The shark is aggressive when provoked. In Australian and New Zealand waters, the shark is regarded as dangerous. Very interesting. So, Smith Sea Fishes seems like such a tongue twister. Yeah. Smith Sea Fishes, Smith Sea Fish. Oh no, I'm not even gonna try it. Actually, yeah, no, that's gonna trip me up. Fishes of Australia. I do want to check this really quick to see if there's any new notes. Although quite sluggish, broadnose sharks are large, powerful predators and can be aggressive, particularly if provoked. Species responsible for a number of attacks on humans and public aquaria. There have been no verified attacks in open water. Interesting. Kind of curious about what the circumstances of those attacks were, but first, I think before we get down a new rabbit hole, I really want to... Oh, actually, yeah, I did have these two other studies, or two other species profiles, and then we'll get into the study that I really want to get into, which was like how the shark interacts with great whites and orca whales. So, all right. So this is an FAO guide. So this is a nice kind of profile of the species in general. So Notorynchus cepedianus. The official English name is the Broadnose Sevengill Shark. French is Platnez, and Spanish is Cañabota gata. Okay. We won't read too much into the diagnostic characteristics because it's pretty. I think this is a pretty charismatic looking shark. You can't really mistake it for another species. So. Okay, large temperate water shark. Continental and insular shelves, intertidal at the surf line to at least 136 meters, but mostly in coastal waters less than 50 meters deep. Again, it's really cool to see that this is a sevengill shark that prefers to be in shallow water. Benthic or pelagic, bottom dwelling, strong swimming. Pregnant females not examined, but with litter size of 67 to 104 young estimated from ovarian eggs. A powerful inshore apical predator in temperate waters, feeding primarily on other cartilaginous fishes, bony fishes, and marine mammals, seals and small cetaceans, but also on seabirds, hagfish, terrestrial mammals, gastropods, bivalves, crabs, squid, and octopuses. Occasionally bites or threatens divers and swimmers, but not a hazard to people. Individuals would snap when captured or otherwise provoked. Separate statistics are infrequently reported for the species and not in the area. Interesting. Okay. Not much else on it. So it's kind of cool. We keep seeing that. Yeah, this is an animal not to really mess with. Kind of reminds me of an American alligator a little bit in that way. Like American alligators are the calmest of the crocodilians, but you definitely don't mess with them. It's still a very large, powerful animal. You just don't mess with it. This is actually really cool illustrations here, and I wonder if we can compare this with... I don't think they have the other sevengill shark here, do they? Oh, they do. Oh, there they go. Okay, cool. Perfect. Okay. So this is actually a really cool illustration where you can compare the two sevengill species. So here's Heptranchius perlo, the sharp-nosed sevengill shark. Again, note the large eye, like the really large eye, and then no spots on the body. And then Tonight's species, the Broadnose Sevengill Shark, it looks a lot bigger, more robust. The eye is smaller, and it has that beautiful salt and pepper color, like that speckling on the body. So, oh, this is interesting. I don't know if this is a local name. Platnius suikify. Interesting. The habitat inshore cool temperate waters to depths of 570 meters, often found very close to shore. May be susceptible to coastal development and environmental changes given its reliance on inshore habitats. So it's kind of cool to see. We're also seeing a profile of the species biology where the young use bays as a nursery, like a lot of sharks do. The little ones stay inshore, and the big ones are more offshore. They have the high site fidelity, so they can be concentrated in areas of a lot of human activity, whether that's fishing or development. So it's kind of cool that we're seeing, like putting together a profile of this. There's dolphin gangs, orca gangs, and now Tasmanian tiger gangs. Oh my gosh. Maybe they get aggressive because there's nowhere to escape in an aquarium, stand your ground sort of thing. Sir Douglas, that's a good point, potentially. It's kind of cool to see some sharks do okay in aquaria, and some sharks really don't. Like the most famous being the great whites. You can't keep them in aquariums. They just can't do it. And I wonder temperamentally, maybe a sevengill shark similarly just can't do it. And that's actually kind of interesting as far as this species doing coordinated attacks. I don't know. Is it proportionally compared to other sharks maybe a little bit smarter potentially? We don't know. maybe less pleased with its environment. Whereas a lot of other shark species, they're very docile in captivity. Then again, sand tiger sharks are similar because they're docile in captivity, but sand tigers have been reported to bite divers in aquaria. I think there are about 30 sand tiger attacks, technically. And they're similar in terms of sight fidelity. Sand tigers also really have high sight fidelity for shipwrecks, and while Sevengills have high sight fidelity for other areas. So, I don't know. I mean, it could be... It could be... I mean, it could be just, like, not happy with its environment and actively trying to get out of it. I don't know. That's a really good question as far as like why there's incidents in aquaria with this kind of shark. So, I think. Let me check the. Oh, here we go. Smith's sea fishes. Here we go. Our mystery research before we get to. That's 1,200 pages. Before we get to the modern orca studies, I really do want to read these orca and great white shark studies. So, okay, that's a huge book. Can I might be able to, depend on how this is coded. Oh, yes. Okay, I am able to search through this. Thank you. So I'm searching for the Latin name Notorynchus. So there's Notorious. Good. Okay, Notorynchus. It's getting there. Heck yeah. Okay, there we go. There we go. We got it. All right. So let's see. Is there any note about this whole human body thing? Let's see. Okay. Broadnose Sevengill Shark. Commonly enters shallow water and often caught by anglers from shore. Apparently an antitropical species. Report in India is dubious. Our records range from Angola Bay to Namibia. Also, really great photograph of a frilled shark. That's really freaky, actually. Really super cool photograph. And this is an older text too, so that's actually really cool to see because I'm used to like. There's one specific photograph of a frill shark that I thought it was claiming to be the only one in existence in the 90s, and then I had no idea that this one existed. This is a great photograph of this species. But shoot, okay, so no notes on the whole human remains thing. So, I'm just gonna click on this just for fun. Yeah, okay, never mind. Yeah, I don't want to waste time. So somewhere in the literature, and specifically Compagno 1989, which I think he got this from something else personally. We have a documented record of human remains being found in a Sevengill shark, which is really creepy. So it's somewhere in the research before 1989. And again, Compagno, I think, got that from somewhere. So it's one of these papers. If anybody is curious, I'm just going to put the link to sharkreferences.com. Yeah. So if anybody's curious, you are more than welcome to do detective work to find out. And actually, if you do find it out, please let me know. Please feel free to... I think the Dr. Jaws community page, I think everybody is allowed to post on that on YouTube, so please feel free to do that. Or to bring it up next stream. If you do find anything on the whole... Where in the world was it documented that a Sevengill shark had human remains in it? That would be really interesting. So... yeah. Oh, Quackers. Admittedly, there's one video of the whale sharks in the Osaka aquarium with piano. Oh, I've seen that video. That's really. I actually do like that video personally. Like, it's very relaxing. So, and I I have mixed feelings because like I feel bad seeing whale sharks be in public aquaria since they're such a oceanic species. But I don't know much of the research in terms of how well they do in aquaria, and they, I mean, they seem healthy, but I don't know much of the research on it. But I do love that video. Like that is a very relaxing video. So, sorry, random side tangent. So let's dive into. This one is a great title, so we'll go into this one first because there's 2 studies about Sevengill sharks interacting with predators, and this is the first one that I really wanted to get to. So here we go. Running scared when predators become prey. This is by Tamlin M. Engelbrecht, Allison A. Cox, and M. Justin O'Ryan. So, abstract. Apex predators play an important role in structuring food webs and are thus key components of healthy, stable ecosystems. While the loss of apex predators has been shown to disrupt ecosystems and trigger trophic cascades, the introduction of novel apex predators to functionally enact systems is less well understood. False Bay, South Africa, and I think this is the same location where they're talking about a major predator event happening, is an aggregation site for both white Carcharodon calcareus and Broadnose Sevengill sharks, Notorynchus cepedianus, which together fulfill the role of coastal apex predators. However, since 2009, their position at the top of the food chain has been subverted by the increased presence of killer whales or Canis orca in False Bay. That's freaky. These super predators are known to specialize on certain prey species, and up until 2015 were only documented preying on marine mammals within False Bay. However, in 2015 and 2016, we documented 2 events in which killer whales preyed upon Broadnose Sevengill sharks using a specialized feeding method in which only the liver of each shark was consumed. Although selective feeding on... This is famous. This is a famous study. Oh my gosh. Although selective feeding on shark liver by killer whales is established, this is the first record of killer whale predation on Sevengill sharks in False Bay, and the first documentation of a novel feeding technique in which killer whales used force applied to the pectoral fins of each shark to rupture the pectoral girdle. This is Halloween, and thereby access the liver. Oh my goodness. These predation events resulted in the prolonged absence of Sevengill sharks from what is the largest known aggregation site for this species globally. Oh my gosh. Which remained abandoned for up to a month. We briefly reviewed the literature on killer whale behavior, dietary specialization, and population delineation globally and locally, and I hypothesize that the novel predations on Broadnose Sevengill sharks in False Bay are possibly indicative of the arrival of a different subgroup or ecotype of killer whale in the bay, which habitually feeds on sharks. Due to the unique predatory niche occupied by Sevengill sharks in False Bay, the increased presence of these particular killer whales in False Bay could have profound impacts throughout the ecosystem. Wow. Okay, I need a drink of water. That's a lot for a lot of different reasons. Oh my gosh. So, firstly, it's really weird to read about a species that is not man, that is not humans, that is disrupting an environment. It's so interesting to see that there's a different species having a impact that's so disruptive that it's driving a species out, and especially a shark. That's really interesting to see that. Secondly, I do want to focus on a different subgroup or ecotype of killer whales. So this is pretty interesting. Killer whales, they have different populations around the world, like different pods, and each one behaves very differently. And actually, they can look very differently too. I think the Antarctic, or one of the Antarctic pods of killer whales, they actually have kind of like a orangey color on, as opposed to having like the white spots. They actually have kind of like a tan, orange, beige kind of color to them, which is pretty cool looking. Some killer whales have like smaller, reduced dorsal fins. Some have like some with the like males have like the very high dorsal fins. So it's actually really cool to see that this is a different group of killer whales because like killer whales can be very distinct in different parts of the world. Like it's the same species of whale, but each one actually has kind of like its own like behavior. Some are, you know, and like the study is saying, like some specialize in a certain kind of diet. Some are kind of like, I feel like some are more aggressive than others. It really just kind of depends on the pod. So it's really interesting to see that the prior group of killer whales in False Bay were fine living with the sharks because they were focusing on hunting marine mammals. But the new group of killer whales came in and now started hunting the sharks. That's pretty incredible, actually. So, man, yeah, woo, happy Halloween. I mean, knowing they're killer whales, I'm almost not surprised. Yeah, I'm learning. There's a lot about killer whales that I feel like as a '90s kid, you know, a Free Willy kid, there's a part of me. I think I grew up with like, oh, these are these beautiful, magical, giant, incredible creatures, and they are. They really are. But I don't know. There's a lot to them. There's a lot to these animals. I had a buddy tell me that you know, of all the animals in the ocean, that's the one you got to be careful with the most diving wise, which I was really surprised to hear that. I was like, well, really? Like, you know, because like they keep saying like sharks, you know, as like infamous as sharks are, they're actually most scuba divers will tell you this. Like as infamous as sharks are, they're really chill underwater for the most part. Like if you're a scuba diver, they're usually really chill underwater. And I would argue scuba diving is probably safer than swimming with sharks. As far as like it's just a different kind of vibe. The shark can clearly see you. You have the tank on your back. You are this loud, obnoxious thing that it probably really doesn't want to go after if you're a scuba diver. If you're a swimmer, it's more cases of mistaken identity. It's a lot of splashing behavior, which indicates distress for the shark, so it kind of draws them in a little bit. Very different. But this buddy was telling me that like they're very comfortable diving with sharks underwater. They're not comfortable diving with killer whales. If a whale is in the area, they are instructed to get out of the water, which I thought was really interesting. So, because again, you're used to them being like, you know, they've never hurt anybody in the wild. I mean, you know, they're attacking boats in the wild now, but it's just kind of interesting. I feel like we're learning more about killer whales and more is coming out about them in the past decades. You know, amazing animal, but more than I originally thought. I think when I was growing up. So I want to scan this and kind of drill down on which killer whale, like which group is actually coming into this area and predating on these sharks. So let's see. Okay, actually, this is really cool. Apex predators, by definition, occupy the uppermost links of the food chain and thus have few to no natural predators. However, it is possible and in fact fairly common to have multiple apex predators that occur within a single ecosystem. That's actually really cool. Kind of a good point. A fun example that's a little bit more domestic is kind of in my backyard, you have bull sharks are an apex predator in the bay. Simultaneously, bottlenose dolphins are an apex predator. Simultaneously, bald eagles and osprey, those are also apex predators. And, you know, it's kind of cool. And humans are in that model. They absolutely could be accounted for as apex predators. So, coexistence among these species is usually achieved through niche partitioning, which leads to unique roles being fulfilled by each species. Due to the importance of the individual role played by each species, the introduction of a novel and highly dominant apex predator into an ecosystem can have unpredictable consequences, not only on other predatory species, but on the structure and stability of the entire ecosystem. The Broadnose Sevengill Shark is a large, predominantly coastal species that feeds on a wide range of prey species, including teleosts, malasprinks, pinnipeds, and cetaceans. This broad dietary niche, combined with the consumption of species across a range of trophic levels, suggests that Sevengill sharks occupy a similar trophic level to other larger shark species like the white shark, bull shark, and tiger shark. And again, kind of from a human danger perspective, that actually these sharks, I think I underestimated Broadnose Sevengill sharks. These are no jokes. Let's see. False Bay on the southwest coast of South Africa hosts one of the largest known aggregations of Broadnose Sevengill sharks globally. The aggregation site is located at Miller's Point on the western border of the bay in a sheltered cove characterized by kelp forest habitat interspersed among sandy channels and patches of rocky reef. Shallow and easily accessible from land, the site is a popular tourist attraction where scuba divers have the opportunity to observe up to 70 Sevengill sharks in a single hour-long dive. So I think it's this. Yeah, it's this place. So this is where all this stuff is happening. Oh, that is sad, actually. So this Sevengill shark hotspot, this is where all the orca whale stuff is happening. That's incredible. It's really cool to kind of read this article, and then you can bounce back to footage on YouTube and see, like, oh my gosh. So, Sir Douglas, I love this quote. It feels like there's a direct correlation between intelligence and cruelty, except for orangutans, I guess. Yeah. And bonobos. Bonobos are they're a cousin of the chimpanzee. That they're the hippies of the primate world. They're very much make love, not war, kind of primates. So, yeah. But yeah, this is incredible to see this study. Let's go back here. Okay. So currently the reason for Sevengill sharks to aggregate in this particular site are unknown, but thought to be a refuge for these sharks to avoid competition and predation from larger shark species such as white sharks, which also aggregate in large numbers in False Bay. Sevengill sharks are known to feed on many of the same prey species as white sharks in False Bay, including seals, smaller elazabrinks, and teleos. So again, elazabrinks are sharks and rays, teleos are most bony fish, but they are themselves vulnerable to attacks from white sharks. Therefore, Sevengill sharks likely seek refuge in among the sheltered kelp forests of Miller's Point during the day, venturing out to feed at night when they are less likely to be detected by white sharks. Let's see. This spatial and temporal niche partitioning is likely the mechanism that facilitates coexistence between these two apex predators in False Bay. Okay, however, since 2009, there's been an increase of killer whales. Labeled as the super predators of the marine environment, killer whales have no natural predators and occupy the pinnacle of marine food webs. That's an amazing sentence. That's really... I give respect to that. That's really cool. Labeled as the super predators of the marine environment, killer whales have no natural predators and occupy the pinnacle of marine food webs. Killer whales are also one of the most cosmopolitan marine species, with a global distribution from icy polar waters to warm tropical oceans. In False Bay, killer whales are fairly rare, but they've been dated back. Records have been dated back to 1880s. These whales have been feeding on dolphins back in 1987. Prior to 2015, killer whales in False Bay had only ever been observed prey on marine mammals, particularly common dolphins, and whales such as humpbacks. Oh wow! Oh man, humpback whales are huge. Like that's freaky. No records of shark predation by killer whales exist historically for False Bay, and neither researchers nor shark-based tour operators reported marked changes in the presence or behavior of sharks associated with the more frequent visits by killer whales in the last decade. It seems indicative that these killer whales coexisted with resident shark species, most likely also through niche partitioning. Wow. So this is kind of amazing. Wow. However, between November 2015 and April 2016, two unprecedented events occurred at the Miller's Point Sevengill aggregation site. In both instances, the number of sharks present at the site plunged overnight. Oh, wow. Oh my gosh, it is Halloween. In both instances, the number of shark species present at the site plunged overnight, leaving the area almost completely abandoned. That's scary. Divers at the aggregation site then reported that several carcasses of Sevengill sharks had been discovered. Following the first event on the 9th of November... This is a specific day! Oh my gosh. I've never seen anything like this. Following the first event on 9th November 2015, only photographic evidence of the carcasses was obtained. Oh, man. The carcass of Broadnose Sevengill Shark after predation by killer whales. Wow. Oh, man. Oh, man. These photographs show that each carcass had a large tear across pectoral girdle. Right, so right here. Although whether this wound has been inflicted by humans or a natural predator was unclear, no live sharks are sighted by divers at the aggregation site for over a month. In April 2016, following the return of large numbers of Sevengills from Miller's Point, an almost identical event took place. In this instance, 5 carcasses of Sevengill sharks were recovered and necropsies were conducted on each individual. Similar to the photographs of the incident in November, all of the carcasses were intact with the exception of a large tear across the pectoral girdle, exposing the body cavity of the shark. In each case, the liver had been removed, while the other organs, such as the heart, stomach, and reproductive organs, were all still intact. Upon examining the external abrasions and bruising of the carcass, we found evidence of bite marks on the pectoral fins with bruising of the underlying tissue. Because I was about to say, this seems so strange that it's like, is it a killer whale or is it humans? Bruce, hey, welcome back, Bruce Davidson. Oh my gosh. Welcome back, man. It's good to see you. You walked in on like a really, oh man, Roy literally looks like a shark war. Yeah, like you walked in on a really. Oh, can you send the link to this one? Yes, absolutely, Quackers. Really freaky study. Like, it's kind of funny. I mean, like I didn't think, like I really wanted to do a shark that was kind of like Halloween adjacent, because it's spooky season, but I didn't realize that this has been like a straight up horror story. Like, this is, but thank you. It's good to see you. Yeah, thank you. This is like a straight up horror story. This shark, so earlier we determined that this shark actually has been found with human remains. The shark has attacked people in aquariums. Now we're kind of coming to a crime scene of like, killer whales apparently are predating this shark. And it's like, it's not normal, apparently. It's an overnight event. That freaks me out that they did this overnight. That's so weird. So there was November 9th, 2015 is like when killer whales did this. Oh my gosh. Actually, hold on. Wait a minute. Yeah, wait, November 9th, 2015. Okay. Okay, never mind. Sorry. Okay, April 2016, following return large number of Sevengills, an almost identical event took place. Since 5 okay, we were talking about, like, they did the necropsy. So originally, it's such a precise thing, like, the liver being removed from these sharks. So they were finding on November 9th, 2015, Sevengill sharks disappeared and their bodies were found with the liver removed. So originally it's kind of like they didn't know whether it was the killer whales or humans, and it sounds like a human thing, which is awful. As far as maybe the liver, it was used like it used as like for vitamins or a commodity, but the evidence that they're finding is that they're showing that there's killer whale bite marks. So, given the consistency of the external wound on these sharks and those that were photographed on 9th November 2015, we re-examined the photographs and found the same tooth impressions on the pectoral fins of each shark. After consulting the scientific literature and marine mammal specialists, it was concluded that the tooth impressions belonged to a killer whale. These events raised a number of important questions, most notably, why would killer whales begin targeting sharks in False Bay after years of apparent coexistence? Why was only the liver of each individual consumed while the rest of the carcass was discarded? What potential impact could there be on the ecosystem of False Bay if these predation events become more frequent? Ooh. Okay, I really do want to see... Oh, wow. Necropsies reveal that each shark had a broken pectoral girdle, as well as distinct tooth impressions made by killer whales on each pectoral fin. I really want to see this. How can you tell? That's hard to tell. Okay, that's a little bit more clear. So these two marks right here, these like circular marks, because I know killer whales kind of have like cone-like, peg-like teeth, like the path of the Sevengill is up. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh man, imagine going into a regular dive only to find all the bodies on the floor. That is horrifying. How did they develop such a precise attack method so quickly? Was this developed over time, overnight? Interesting. So that's a great question. I'm not as familiar with killer whales. I do know that all I know is that they're very smart and that they can play with their food. As far as like Blue Planet has some incredible shots of like killer whales like playing with a seal pup for fun. It killed a seal pup and they were kind of tossing it like it was multiple individuals like tossing a recently killed seal pup, kind of like a football, like launching it into the air and apparently playing with it but not eating it. Killer whales did coordinated attacks on gray whale calves and just ate like the tongue and left the rest of the carcass alone. And then I think the last one on Blue Planet is that killer whales use their tail fins to shock schools of herring. So they will do like kind of like a clap in the water that the shock wave will paralyze herring. So they're really no joke. They're really dangerous actually. And it's incredible, not dangerous to humans, except for the recent boating things. Like, in the past few years, orcas have, ripped out rudders from boats. Like to this day, there's not been a wild orca attack on humans. There's been the infamous SeaWorld incidents, but there hasn't been a wild attack on humans. So, but yeah, I mean, it's like, that's a really good question in terms of like how quickly did the orcas develop that attack method for the sharks. So we'll breeze through. Let's see. Okay. However, studies on killer whales from other areas around the globe provided valuable insights that allow us to speculate as to the cause behind these novel observations. Okay. Oh, I like this. Despite the current classification of killer whales as a single species globally, numerous studies from different areas have shown evidence of distinct groupings or ecotypes of killer whale. So this is what I was kind of mentioning earlier. These ecotypes differ in diet, behavior, social organization, and even morphology. There is no global model for killer whale ecotypes, and delineation is region-specific, with 2 types identified in the North Atlantic, 3 in the Northeast Pacific, and 4 in Antarctica. Diet appears to be a major driver in distinguishing ecotypes. Okay, gotcha. So I'm just going to kind of scan through the rest of this. Okay, so killer whales apparently rarely eat sharks and rays. One study speculated that Lazarynx are likely underestimated in the diet of certain killer whale populations because of the difficulty of detecting underwater predation events. This assertion has been supported by studies from the Northeast Pacific and New Zealand. So Northeast Pacific, so that would be, and that makes sense, which both suggest that the Lazarynx feature prominently in the diet of certain killer whale ecotypes in these areas. That makes sense because in the Pacific Northwest of North America, so ocean orientation gets really tricky because from the ocean's perspective, the Northeast Pacific is the west coast of North America, if that makes sense. So if you're looking at it from like, if you put a dot in the middle of the Pacific Ocean and the direction is northeast, you're hitting Alaska, Washington, whatever. From the continent's perspective, the Pacific coast is western North America. So that gets tricky. But anyway, point being, the Pacific Northwest of North America is famous for having killer whales and famous for not having a lot of sharks. partially because killer whales are in the area, and they are rumored to drive the sharks away, basically. So, and especially great whites. So that's actually really interesting that that's observed for that area, and then also for New Zealand. Let's see. However, it appears there's a significant cost involved in consuming sharks as a preferred prey item. Certain killer whale ecotype that is known to regularly consume sharks in the Northeast Pacific show that individuals belonging to this ecotype displayed severe tooth wear down to the gum line, whereas individuals that specialize on mammals and fish had little to no tooth wear, despite being of similar or greater age. Interesting. So it looks like the whales that eat sharks, the sharks are tougher to eat. It was suggested by the authors of the abrasive dermodenticles that make up shark skin contribute to this wear on the teeth of killer whales that habitually feed on sharks. Although little is known about the behavior and ecology of killer whales in South Africa, studies have shown the existence of at least 2 morphotypes with different size and number of morphological traits. Okay, the first one, which is believed to originate from Antarctica, eats mostly mammals, fish, squid, and seabirds. However, 3 individuals belong to a second, smaller morphotype that showed evidence of significant tooth wear, so a potential sign that they eat sharks. And stomach contents of at least one of these individuals revealed numerous elasmeric vertebrae that were concluded to be those of blue sharks. This flat tooth morphotype frequently predates on sharks. Okay. This is a rare kind of killer whale. It's as far as like it's rare in coastal areas. Deeper shelf waters further offshore. Killer whales are known to predate on blue and short-fin mako sharks that have been caught on pelagic lawn lines, along with other species such as swordfish and tuna. Okay, so it looks like the theory is there's an offshore kind of killer whale that likes to eat sharks. This may answer the question of why killer whales would suddenly target sharks in False Bay after years of apparent coexistence. While prey switching by mammal specialists is not impossible, it's more likely that a new subgroup of killer whales arrived in the bay, one which habitually preys upon sharks such as the flat-toothed morphotype described above. The consistent predation technique of breaking the pectoral girdle and removing the liver through a rupture in the abdominal wall further points to the arrival of a shark specialist ecotype of killer whale in False Bay. So, apparently, there is a kind of killer whale in the open ocean that specializes in killing sharks, and then it just showed up one day and it killed all the sharks in that bay. That's scary, man. That is a horror story. This theory is supported by sighting records from a local whale watching charter, which documented the arrival of 2 new individual killer whales in False Bay in January 2015. Okay. These individuals both have collapsed dorsal fins but in opposite directions, making them easily identifiable and resulting in them being named port and starboard. Okay. This is like, it's like reading like a crime scene in the crime story. Like, oh my gosh. My girlfriend really loves true crime, by the way, and this is cracking me up because it's like we're starting to get like, you know, motive, opportunity. I don't know. This is wild to me. Since their initial detection in 2015, they've been re-sighted numerous times within the bay, including Miller's Point just days after the first incident of predation on Sevengill sharks at the site in November 2015. Port and starboard murder these sharks. Wow, this is... I shouldn't say murder, but like, I really shouldn't say murder, but it's still, this is wild. They're also sighted not far from Miller's Point just 2 weeks before the second incident in April 2016. Incredible. These 2 killer whales appear to be highly transient, and between 2015 and 2017 were sighted at a number of different locations along the west and south coast of South Africa, including such areas as Struisbaai and Gansbaai. I apologize if I'm not saying that correctly. Their presence at these 2 sites was followed by the discovery of multiple shark Oh my gosh. This is blowing my mind, guys. This is one of my favorite streams, by the way. This one's wild. Their presence at these 2 sites was followed by the discovery of multiple shark carcasses between February and June 2017. Trail of death. However, in these instances, the prey were white sharks. Okay. Following the discovery of these carcasses, researchers reported an extended period of little to no white shark activity in the area. Oh, there they are! Wow! Alright. We got, wow! What do you guys think? This is incredible. This is really incredible. Oh my gosh. Bruce, no doubt, if the shark was if the shark was killing the area, it is likely to have taken on board or butchered underwater. Killer whales migrate quite often. It makes sense that just one who know about this just rolled in. It's true. It's making gangs of killer whales, quackers. I mean, just how much longer until a killer whale specialized in killing humans shows up? Wow, yeah, that's freaky. That actually. Oh man! If that ever happened, thank goodness it's never happened before, and hopefully, yeah. But that would just be that would be a nightmare. That would actually be a nightmare come true if that ever happened. Because that you would see that being too successful. But then again, when you think about it, how often do humans and killer whales interact? Like. Actually, you know what? That's a really good question, because like sharks and humans interact quite a lot actually, and I know I keep talking about, like, I know I mentioned a lot of times on the stream, like, it's really rare. It's really hard for most people to run into a shark and kind of like interact with them, but when you think about, like, you know, accidental beach encounters, sharks swimming right up to the shoreline, you know, YouTube videos of this miraculous shark event, like. That's pretty common, or like fairly common, as far as like Florida has a lot of those events. You know, the black tip shark migration on the east coast of the United States is a big thing. So sharks and humans run into each other quite often. Killer whales and humans, it's a little rarer. If you're scuba diving, it happens. Kayaking in certain parts of the world, it happens. But like, I don't know. I mean, bathing. I guess I'm just saying bathing is rare. Like actually like swimming and like enjoying the beach. It's really. I don't think I've ever heard of killer whales being in the same area as like swimmers and beachgoers. I don't think I've ever really heard of that. But still, if that ever happened, that would be a horror story. Oh my gosh, quackers! It just continually gets worse. Whoa. It's the perfect way to get your girl. This is the perfect way to get your girlfriend into sharks if she's already. Love it, because it's true crime. Love that, midges. Also, my girlfriend I probably can't say she loves sharks, but she's learned a lot actually, and she impresses me every day with like how much she already knows or has learned kind of from the stream, and I really appreciate that actually. So, oh my gosh, so. Let's learn more about port and starboard, the crime whales. But like, my goodness. Oh, here we go. Sorry, necropsies on the carcasses show that they bore similar wounds to those observed on the seven. Wow. Okay, sorry. So necropsies on the great white shark carcasses show that they bore similar wounds to those observed on Sevengill sharks in False Bay, and in all cases, the sharks' livers have been removed. Man. Okay, can we find a clip of these guys actually? Port and starboard killer whales. This is fake looking. That's better. Okay. No ads, don't give me ads. They're gonna give me ads, aren't they? Oh, no, they didn't. Okay, good. Port and starboard. Okay, so this is them. Oh, man. That's them. Wow. This is... It's kind of interesting that they have, like, droopy dorsal fins, and I don't know why that would be. And their tail fins or flukes are kind of droopy looking too. Wow. We live in quite a world where like it's kind of incredible to like read a paper and then find the orca, the the culprits, if you will. Like just see clips of them. That's really incredible that they're famous whales, you know. And it's also kind of incredible. They seem just kind of small too. Like I'm curious about like if there's any theories in terms of why they're doing this. So let's see. Oh, here we go. Selective feeding and nutritional benefits of shark liver. Observations of killer whale predation of sharks in different areas show marked variation in methods of capture, extent of handling, and extent of consumption of each individual. In some instances, the sharks were reportedly dismembered and largely consumed via prey sharing between multiple killer whales within the pod. However, several accounts have documented killer whales feeding on livers of sharks after successful predation. Predatory event by killer whales on Broadnose Sevengill sharks in Argentina resulted in numerous carcasses washing up on a nearby beach the following day. It was noted that most of these carcasses had bite marks on their backs and stomachs, and their livers were missing. Wow, this is freaky. In addition to the account by Pyle involving killer whales feeding on the white shark off Farallon Islands, the only liver of the shark was consumed during the observation of the event. Shark livers are large, comprising up to 1/3 of the total mass of the shark, and are rich in lipids. Killer whales are known to selectively target prey items and specific tissue types that have high lipid content. For example, fish-eating killer whales studied in Canada selectively target the largest and most lipid-rich species of salmon, despite the fact that other species are more abundant across their foraging grounds. Similarly, mammal-hunting killer whales that target whales are known to feed selectively on the tongue and blubber of prey, discarding the rest of the carcass. Interesting. Because I mentioned Blue Planet earlier, where they went after a gray whale calf and just ripped out its tongue. But it's interesting to read that there might be a reason for that, and they're looking for lipids, I guess. The evidence of the carcasses at Miller's Point, in which only the liver of the shark was consumed while the rest of the carcass was discarded, is indicative of highly selective feeding by these killer whales. This is really cool, by the way. I kind of love, like, we got into this article from the shark's perspective. We are all team shark, and it's really cool to kind of, like, come in from, like, we are Sevengill shark advocates. We come in and see their side of the story. But simultaneously, there's probably killer whale researchers who, like, love this and, like, think this is really incredible, and we're, like, all gasping in horror for our shark friends. But this is a really amazing interaction in nature. It is really incredible to see this. So, oh man. This is interesting too. Furthermore, the lack of bite marks or injuries anywhere other than the pectoral fins shows a novel and specialized technique of accessing the liver of each shark, with minimal handling of each individual, indicating that these killer whales likely feed on sharks habitually. Ooh. Repercussions of novel shark predations on coastal ecosystems. Let's see. Both Sevengill sharks and white sharks play an important role as apex predators. A reduction in their numbers due to direct predation from killer whales, combined with their prolonged absence from traditional aggregation sites, is predicted to have cascading effects throughout the entire coastal ecosystem. This chain of events involving novel predations on a species by killer whales after decades of apparent coexistence had been previously documented in the North Pacific. You know, this is so dumb. I just realized that, like, the same shark species the same two shark. This is so weird, actually. I don't know why I'm just realizing this. Both great whites. No. Sorry. Great whites do live in California. I don't know if they live in Washington. But the Sevengill sharks definitely live in Washington. So, definitely live in the North Pacific. So, and it's also a kelp forest environment. This is so strange. Like, you have the Pacific Northwest of North America, and then you have South Africa, two very different environments, and yet they both have kelp forests, they both have killer whales, they both have the Sevengill shark. I don't know if they both have white sharks. I'm actually kind of curious about this now. I thought the Pacific Northwest coast of North America doesn't because of killer whales. I thought killer whales extirpated white sharks from the area. So let's see. Oh, okay. White sharks apparently do live in Washington. So that makes it even eerier because it's like that's actually a little freaky that it's a completely different part of the world, but there's a very similar phenomenon going on where you have the oil the two sharks with large livers that live in kelp forest, and orcas follow them and do this to them. This is really fascinating. A reduction of their numbers due to the direct predation of killer whales, combined with their prolonged absence from digital aggregation sites, is predicted to have cascading effects throughout the entire ecosystem. This chain of events involving novel predations on a species by killer whales after decades of apparent coexistence has been previously documented in the North Pacific. In this instance, killer whales began targeting sea otters, in coastal areas, resulting in massive declines in the abundance of otters across western Alaska. I didn't know they did that. I did not know they did that. This decline caused trophic cascades throughout the local coastal system, such as, as sea urchins were freed from predation pressure from otters and proceeded to decimate previously extensive kelp forest. There remains speculation as to why killer whales began targeting sea otters in this area, but the authors concluded that it was likely due to declines in other prey species such as whales and dolphins in the offshore areas where killer whales were known to forage. This could very well be the case in South Africa, where declines in pelagic fish and shark species due to overfishing, so we are the villain, oh my gosh, may have caused a shift in the distribution of certain killer whales to more coastal regions. So if I'm understanding correctly, it could be that humans overfished offshore environments, and so port and starboard could not find food in the open ocean, so they came to this bay and killed all these Sevengill sharks and white sharks, and then that in turn potentially created a trophic cascade. This is incredible. This is really incredible, actually. However, ongoing research is needed to gain a better understanding of the drivers behind killer whale presence along the South African coast and the impact of the long-term behavior and movement patterns of apex shark species such as Sevengills and white sharks. This is an important step that will allow us to determine the case and predict the broader ecological ripple effects of these novel predation events. Wow. So, I'm going to repost that study because that is incredible. That is one of the most incredible studies I've ever seen on our channel. Like, yeah. Oh, bye, Minjus. So sorry, I just saw your message. So yeah, this has been an insane study party. Hope you have a great week, and if you're still here, I will be gone next week in Emerald Isle, North Carolina. So shark hotspot. Hopefully, I'll see something, and I'll post on the channel if I do. But hope you have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you for the next stream. So, but yeah, this study, Running Scared When Predators Become Prey, that actually sounds like a horror novel. Engelbrecht, Cox, and Orion. This is Orion. I think it's pronounced Orion, and I apologize if I got that wrong. But this is incredible. This is one of the best studies I've ever read here. So, man, that was a ride. And just let's just go back to seeing these wonderful sharks. It's just kind of incredible to think about, like. And again, and again, like, I mean, humans have been the most destructive species as far as, like, there's nothing that comes close to humans as far as ecological impact. But it is really fascinating to read about. I had no idea that the killer whales targeted the sea otters and participated in a trophic cascade. I had no idea that. I mean, I did know that killer whales were responsible for driving sharks out of, like, the Pacific Northwest, but I didn't really know. I know the liver study was famous, but I didn't know the details, and I didn't realize it involved this species. So that's pretty incredible. Yeah, and it's kind of amazing. I feel like it just kind of viscerally really brings it to the forefront of how, like, connected we all are. Because if port and starboard, the killer whales, we're doing this in response to having less food, thanks to overfishing, I mean that adds a whole other layer to it, which is like it's unbelievable. So, man, and here's a site. Here's a site or the scene of the event, False Bay. So that's incredible, man. Well, guys, it's almost 11 here on the East Coast, so I think I'm going to wrap up for tonight. And we'll have, I'm just going to have the Sevengill Shark footage on in the background as I close out. But this was awesome. I really, really, the scene of the crime. Oh my gosh. This was absolutely, bar none, one of my favorite streams. And I love that most of our core crew is here, actually. So I'd love to see you guys. It was awesome to see you. I'm glad, most of the core crew was here for this one in particular, because it just was like, Howard, definitely agree. Imagine that killer whales have a lot of brain power. I absolutely, because it's like, the fact that they know that the sharks had the liver and they were targeting them in such a way to just extract that one part of their body is just like, that's a whole other level. So, but this stream was awesome. I'm really glad you guys could join me for it, and I'm really glad that, like, again, I wasn't really intending to find like a creepy, scary, horror-like shark for the first stream in October, and this shark delivered in spades in a lot of different ways. Like the Broadnose Sevengill Shark is such an interesting nexus of a lot of freaky stuff, and it's been a really cool species to review. So, man, well, thank you guys so much for watching. I, again, will be gone next week. I'm going to be in North Carolina, and hopefully, fingers crossed, see some sharks in a safe way. And if I do, I will post it on the channel. And then when I come back, that's October 21st, if I'm doing that right. Or I don't know if I'm doing that math right. I think that's October 21st. But I will have a special spooky shark since we're getting deeper into the month. So stay tuned for that. And I'll announce it soon as far as like what freaky species we'll be doing. But if you have any suggestions, please leave them in the chat or in the comments or on the community page of the Dr. Dawes channel. And I hope you guys all have a great rest of your week. And I hope you guys all do something fun as we get closer and closer. I just love Halloween, so I hope you guys enjoy it as well, as far as just kind of like decorating and stuff. But thank you so much for watching, and we'll tune in for the next shark. But cheers to this one. Broadnose Sevengill Shark was a rock star. So, but thanks, guys. Cheers, and have a really, really good rest of your week. Bye.